Hi, I've been missing in action here for a bit, but I know all of you have been regular at Newsworthy, so thank you very much. My name is Anubha Bhosle, and by now I'm guessing you've all heard of Roe Wade or Roe versus Wade. What is it? Why is it in the news? What does its possible overturn mean for women in America? But also, why should we care about American women's access to abortion here in India? Well, let's try and unpack some of this. In one line, Roe versus Wade is a 1973 ruling of the US Supreme Court. It is landmark because it gave women in America the constitutional right to have an abortion. Until then, abortion was illegal in the United States. So each state had its own laws on abortion. In fact, they do even today. And most states had banned it. There is a very poignant backstory to this. It was 1970. A woman in Texas, Norma McCorvey, was 5 months pregnant with her third child. She wanted to have an abortion. It was illegal in Texas except to save a mother's life. So Norma, who was just 22 at the time, took on a pseudonym, adopted the name of Jane Roe, and took her petition to abort to court. Now, the Wade in Roe versus Wade is Henry Wade, the district attorney in Dallas County, Texas at the time. Norma McCorvey won her case. She won Roe versus Wade. The ruling gave her and American women the constitutional right to have abortions. By the way, I must tell you, Norma never ended up having an abortion because by the time the court verdict came, she had given birth and placed that baby up for adoption. The Roe versus Wade ruling, or the Roe v. Wade ruling as it's come to be known, struck down laws in states that had previously barred abortions. Now, the fine line here is Roe versus Wade did not say that women have the right to have an abortion. It says they have a constitutional right to have an abortion, and there is a difference. And essentially, the right to abortion wasn't and isn't an absolute one. Anywhere in the world, by the way, India included, like most abortion laws worldwide, including India's, Roe v. Wade laid out some very clear rules and some very clear guidelines on when an abortion can take place or when an abortion is allowed. It is based on the concept of when a fetus becomes physically viable to continue living outside the woman's body. This used to be based on the 3 trimesters of a pregnancy. So, in a sense, the ruling outlined, or the ruling said, that first 3 months it is okay to get an abortion. The second trimester, the state can regulate abortions to protect the women's health. And when it comes to the last 3 months or the last trimester of a pregnancy, Roe v. Wade says that the state can ban abortions unless the mother is at risk. So some 2 decades later, the viability line became a point measured in weeks of pregnancy.
So, what has changed? A few things have happened. Around 2018-2019, Donald Trump was in the White House. He appointed a conservative Brett Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court. Now, the functioning of the US Supreme Court is a different topic altogether, but this essentially tilted the balance in favor of America's moral majority, that is, the Christian right and the Republicans. Then, legislations called heartbeat bills started popping up across US states, mostly in red states. The heartbeat laws say, as argued by anti abortion groups, that the point at which a heartbeat can be detected in a fetus is the point at which it should be declared viable and the woman banned from aborting it, even if it can't survive outside the womb. Why? Because a heartbeat is universally accepted as a sign of life. With this logic, several US states have passed laws banning abortions after 6 weeks when a doctor can detect a flicker of a cardiac motion. Thankfully, courts have blocked these laws in most states. Now, 6 weeks is just shortly after most pregnant women miss their first period. Many don't even know they are pregnant. Also, this is not an actual heartbeat since fetuses do not have a heart at 6 weeks. In 2018, Mississippi passed a legislation that banned all abortions after 15 weeks except in cases of a medical emergency or a fetal abnormality. The state's only abortion provider challenged the law, and the state federal court blocked it on the grounds that it violated Roe v. Wade. The case made its way up to the Supreme Court, which will now deliver a verdict which will either overturn Roe v. Wade or reiterate it. An initial draft of the court's majority decision was leaked a few weeks ago, which suggested that the court will in fact overturn Roe v. Wade. It is draft, and court opinions can and have changed from draft to final delivery. But if Roe v. Wade is overturned, contrary to popular opinion, abortion will not become illegal in the US. It will stop being a constitutional right. States can continue making their abortion laws as they always have. Some states like California will move to codify abortion laws as state laws. Other places will put restrictions on abortions or ban it. By some estimates, if Roe v. Wade is overturned, 23 to 26 US states will ban abortions. So women's reproductive freedom could change the second the US Supreme Court delivers a decision. It already has in Texas under a new law. No abortions after 6 weeks, no exceptions for pregnancies caused by rape and incest. I don't have to spell this out. This is a catastrophic blow to women's rights and reproductive freedom. Essentially, abortion goes from being a right to a privilege. Does the woman come from a blue state or a red state which bans abortions? Can she afford to travel out to a state that allows abortions? Can she financially afford it? Can she afford the transport? Can she afford to take leave? As a result, many, the marginalized, the underserved, Black, Hispanic populations will be disproportionately denied abortions.
Now, important to remember, this is happening in America, the birthplace of the My Body, My Choice movement, and in the year 2022. But the ripple effects are obviously going to be felt in the abortion discourse world over, including in India. Now, yes, we have one of the more progressive laws on abortion, but a woman's right to get an abortion is still conditional here. India legalized abortions in certain cases in 1971 via the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, or the MTP Act. As it stands today, all Indian women can get abortions up to 20 weeks of pregnancy, but they have to take the advice of one doctor, even though at this point in time the procedure is fairly safe. Only some women, survivors of rape, victims of incest, and others categorized as vulnerable women, can get abortions between the 20th and the 24th week with the consent of two doctors. In fact, this amendment came just last year. You may have heard news items of a flurry of women who were survivors of rape going to court if they were pregnant. And it's only in the cases of certain fetal abnormalities that are detected beyond the 24th week can a woman request to get an abortion after she is submitted to a whole board of medical practitioners. The bottom line is, in 2022, most Indian women cannot avail an abortion after 20 weeks, even though medical experts say that 24 weeks is the rough point of fetal viability. Now, the discourse in America and India is not comparable, but what's common or missing is one unshakable fact. Banning abortions doesn't stop abortions. It just pushes women to seek out unsafe abortions. In fact, in 2019, the government told the Supreme Court that yes, India has a high maternal mortality rate, but that is due to women seeking unsafe abortions beyond the prescribed ceiling of 20 weeks. Now, that statement is not entirely true, because bleeding, infections after childbirth, all of them that are easily preventable, treatable, do lead to higher maternal mortality rates. But just for the sake of the argument, doesn't the government's assertion just underscore that women need and want more access to safe abortions? Studies have shown, and there is data for this, that 56% of all abortions performed in India, 56%, and that number would be 15.6 million a year on average, are unsafe. 10 women die each day as a consequence, which is just to say that there is no such thing really as banning abortions. You can only ban safe abortions. I'll end it here. I hope this was newsworthy. Thank you for watching. If you have, do remember you can contribute to Newsworthy. We need your support to help do more consistent, long form, deep dive work. If you've been watching, once again, thank you for your time. The link to contribute is in the description on YouTube and in the bio in our Instagram channel.